Hello and welcome to Megawatt, where each week we give you the lowdown on the latest piece of kit from the world of technology and gadgets. This week we've come to the University of Bath in Swindon, the current home of the Museum of Computing, to see what gadgets they've got from history's past. Old school computers, maybe retro games consoles, perhaps something else that we can dig out of their store cupboard. We're going to go and find out. Plus, of course, the usual news, reviews, tips, tricks and much more. Stay tuned. We're here with Simon Webb, curator of the Museum of Computing in Swindon, England, to give us a brief potted history of the computer from about the 1970s onwards. So, Simon, nice to meet you. What have we got to show us?
This is one of my favourite machines. This is the Commodore PET from 1977.
Okay.
This was one of the first of all-in-one, all-in-a-box plug-and-play machines. The most exciting thing about this is, look at this, if you want to work on it, it opens up car bonnet style. And
That's
there you
brilliant.
go. You can work away. That was the first machine I ever came across when I went into sort of IT. So this really sort of inspired me to go into the business.
And what would something like this cost you?
Over £1,000 at the time.
Wow.
In the late 70s.
Which is quite a lot of money these days.
Significantly more, yeah.
So
yeah.
moving on from there, Apple was around, coming onto the scene, sort of first Apple computers and stuff. Is this I've noticed the nice colourful logo, which they've sort of ditched now.
That's right. The Apple III was really touted as a business machine. This one you see has got a separate unit here. That's the hard drive. That's a 10 megabyte hard drive.
10 megabytes.
And the hard drive alone would have cost over £1,000 then.
Wow,
so,
I've got more memory in my phone now. And I presume, is that floppy?
Floppy drive, 5¼ inch floppy drive on it. Not a terribly successful machine, the Apple III, and of course the one that followed this was the Mac. So that was significantly more successful.
Excellent. And then what else have we got moving on?
This was Japan's entry into the personal computer market, the Sharp MZ80K. You can see it's sort of fairly similar to the Commodore PET, an all-in-one device. Sure. One of the interesting things is, because these machines, you didn't have high-resolution graphics, they incorporated a lot of symbols into the character set. You can see all the card characters in there. So if you wanted to write a game of cards on it, which was about all it was capable of.
Right,
then,
that's quite a specific niche, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
But I suppose this was precursor to sort of the Sonys, the Toshibas, and sort of quite a lot of the
very much so.
we use today. And
very much so. This, as I say, this really sort of Japan's entry, into the personal computer market.
Brilliant. The Radio Shack TRS-80, or Tandy TRS-80 as it was probably known in the UK, was my first computer in the home. Dad brought it home for Christmas. It was a big event, and it was basic keyboard. You plugged it into your television. Connections around the back were limited to a cassette drive, which allowed you to load games like The Wicked Cuthbert in the Jungle. Very cool. It's like a old school Drake Untold Fortune. And then you connected it to the TV, and that was it. The highlight, however, of my geekiness was that there was a massive book it came with programs to build. And basically you spend 45 minutes to 3 hours, depending on how long coding you wanted to type in, press the button. The end result would be a ball bouncing around the screen. You'd think, that's amazing. And then you'd have to turn it off because there was no way of saving it. Or if there was, I never knew how to save it. And so you'd have to then start again and next time you turned it on. And that was the Tandy TRS-80. So at what point did computers become portable?
Well, this one, the Osborne 1981, was generally considered to be the first portable business computer, and that was only just portable. It weighed sort of 10 kilos, so it's not the sort of thing you really want to sort of carry around for too long. No batteries at all, it was mains only.
Okay, and so tiny little screen as well.
Tiny 5-inch green screen, so you could only just sort of, you had a fairly good eyesight to use this.
Okay, and then where do we go from there?
First colour portable, the Commodore SS64, really nice machine, beautiful display.
And the sort of separate keyboard is again.
Separate keyboard, they're all just sort of luggable. We now come to really what is the first, was generally considered to be the first laptop, the Epson HX20.
That looks pretty laptopable.
It does, tiny screen, it's a 4-line display, but you've got things like a micro cassette drive for storage and a tiny little printer built in as well.
So I suppose you could type this, print out your little note, give it to your secretary, she could then post it. It's like modern day email.
It's a genuinely sort of useful sort of portable computer.
Impressive. Forget the iPhone, what you wanted in the late 90s was one of these. It was a Scion Series 3 personal digital assistant. Open it up, There was no touch screen, of course, but it did come with a full QWERTY keyboard and a number of shortcut keys to give you access to world time, calculator, of course your calendar, your contacts book, etc., etc. It was the cutting edge of PDAs. I had one because I was deemed probably too geeky at that point not to, and it was pretty cool. It was certainly the future of where the iPhone is today, and that's the Scion Series 3. Here's a neat little printer trick for you. Did you realise that you can edit your photos on your printer without having to use your computer? All you have to do is take some pictures on camera, of course, get them onto an SD card or a memory card of your choice, and then put them into your printer. Now, we're using the HP PhotoSmart D7460 to show you this, A, because it has a memory card reader, but also it's very easy to do. So we put our memory card in. Now, we've taken a picture here that we know has got red eye in it already, as you can see here on this picture. And that's what we're going to fix today. So we go to the options, we go to Edit Photo, Red Eye Removal, and we tick the On box. Now, the HP printer scans the picture, finds the red eye, automatically fixes it, and all we have to do then is press the print button. And there you have it. It's as simple as that.
This is the Sinclair ZX81 from 1981.
Right.
Groundbreaking machine. It was available at a price that most people could afford. So this was the machine that a lot of people, introduced them to computers and to programming. Fantastic 1K. That's 1K of memory it had.
Blimey. And so how many, was this what put Sinclair on the map, I suppose?
It really did. He sold over 1 million of these machines. As I say, it sort of started a cottage industry in programming. I cut my teeth on this as a programmer.
Excellent. So then from there it went on to, I suppose, the ZX Spectrum?
The Spectrum, yeah, fantastically popular machine that introduced colour and graphics and sound, etc. So that was a real sort of hit.
Excellent. Now, while everybody talks about the ZX Spectrum as their computer of childhood, mine, for me, was the Sinclair ZX Spectrum Plus 2. Plus 2 because it had a cassette deck built into the chassis. How cutting edge was that? 128K of memory, 5 minutes to load a game. It wasn't the greatest thing, and of course you had to connect it to your TV to work, so therefore nobody else could watch cutting edge episodes of A-Team while it was happening. Distraught that I was, having convinced my parents to spend the £200 for Christmas to buy me one of those things, was 3 months later, the ZX Spectrum Plus 3 was announced, which they've got at the Computer Museum here on display. That came with a floppy disk drive, which meant that the 5-minute game load times were almost down to virtually 0. Well, probably still 3 minutes in real relationship to that. But yeah, I was distraught. But as I say, technology moves on, and this at the time was brilliant, and it was the ZX Spectrum Plus 2.